Yo, this is Night Rider. How you doing? Welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know, I'm riding a Suzuki Boulevard M109R. You know, when you buy a cruiser that's not a Harley Davidson, people, bikers and non-bikers alike tend to ask, why did you buy a Harley? Which isn't always necessarily a dumb question, because Harley dominates the cruiser segment. They are known for making cruisers. So why did I not buy a Harley? I didn't buy it because I'm gonna cut to the quick answer. They didn't have what I needed. There are gonna be people, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, they're going to assume I bought this because it was a Suzuki. Because my other bike is a Suzuki. If you have been following my channel for some time, you already know I don't care what the brand is. I want a good bike. I've said that in the beginning, and I'll say it now. So, why didn't I buy a Harley Davidson? Well, when I was looking for a cruiser, I had a specific criteria that I wanted. From someone coming from a Hayabusa, I needed something with some power. Now, I did not expect any cruiser to have the power of my bike, but I didn't want just any cruiser. I know I needed something to keep me at least satisfied with the power and torque. And also, I didn't want to have to dump a whole bunch of money into an engine to make it fast. So when I narrowed it down, and I wanted something sporty. I didn't want something that looked like an old man's bike. And I didn't want a big bagger. I didn't want a big bagger. It just wasn't my style. And so when I thought about that, just the power alone, I got narrowed down to two bikes that I knew of. Two bikes that I like the look of and had the power. Was Suzuki Boulevard and the V-Ride. You know what? If you talk about power in a cruiser, that's what everybody suggests you look at. Now, there's a Triumph Rocket, and there's some other cruisers, but I didn't like the looks of them. So they were easily weeded out. I didn't have to think about the specs of them. I did not like the looks of them. I've always liked the look of the V-Ride and the Boulevard. I never knew this was a Suzuki. I just saw it down at bike nights and I'm like, man, that's a good looking bike. I always knew the V-Ride was a Harley Davidson. Here's what happened. I went to the dealership looking for the V-Ride. I wanted to see the V-Ride. You know? And so I'm walking around. The salesmen were busy. I'm just walking around looking for it. Figured I'd find it on my own. And so I couldn't find it. And I asked the guy, I said, hey, where's the V-Ride at? I want to look at a V-Ride. He said it's right over there. I had already passed it. And I didn't think the bike that I passed was it because it was so small. When you look at a V-Ride online, in the pictures, even in the commercial, it looks bigger than it actually is. When you see it in person, it's tiny. It is tiny and slender. It's still gorgeous, but it's small. And I'm like, I didn't have to sit on it. And I was like, that's too small for me. And so that instantly, it weeded out the V-Ride for me. It's small. For me. I honestly, I think it's small for even guys that are a little bit smaller than me. Well, here are the things that, for me, a lot of times, why I'll put that Harley Davidson doesn't make a bike that I want. Because somebody asked me, would I buy a Harley Davidson? That's a tough question to answer. I know a lot of Harley guys have to deal with a lot of sport bike guys bashing Harley Davidson. I'm not one of those people. If I don't want a bike, it's for a specific reason, not because of the name. I'm not embarrassed to say I own a Harley Davidson. I don't care. My thing with Harley Davidsons is that I don't like air-cooled bikes. I don't like that. I'm in a lot of stop-and-go traffic. I'm in all types of traffic. And I don't want to have to deal with an air-cooled bike. Now, I know not all of their bikes are air-cooled, but the ones that usually tend to fit me are. I know people say Yeah, you can buy. They make some. I don't remember what it was. You Harley guys will know what I'm talking about. They make something that you can buy to add on to your bike that will help keep it cool. But I'm like, it's already a not so cheap bike. I gotta spend extra money to get the parts I want on it. I don't want an air cooled bike, and that brings me to my next point. Harley Davidsons are expensive. Harley Davidsons are very expensive. Even people who love Harley Davidson, who are die-hard Harley Davidson fans, admit, we all can agree on one thing. Everybody agrees, Harley Davidsons are expensive. You know, there ain't no bias in that. But the V-Rod was about the same price as the Boulevard. But as far as the other bikes, they're just expensive. And I don't think most motorcycles are worth that much money to be putting in them. You know, that's a car payment. I'm not with all that. But let's say if the money was no option, a lot of their bigger bikes, I'm not in love with the style. I don't hate them. There are a lot I like, but they tend to be more, it seems more of an older style. To me, I want something that's a little bit more younger. Like the smaller bikes they make, 883, the 550, those smaller bikes that are pretty much one-seater, I can't fit any of them, but they are absolutely gorgeous bikes. The styling and the paint scheme, I love them. And I always wonder, why can't they take that and make it into a bigger bike? I'm sure it'll still be too expensive, but man, those small bikes have so much style, and I love the way they look. I also like the Breakout. But the Breakout, as gorgeous as that bike is so small, and it has barely any passenger space. I personally do not want to have a cruiser that can't ride a passenger. It's like, what's the point of having a cruiser? I know there are guys who have two cruisers. I'm not one of those people who want to have two of the same type of bike. You know, they have a touring cruiser, then they have like a sporty muscle cruiser. I don't want that. And the Breakout, is it raining? You piece of crap. And the Breakout is too small for me also. It's a small bike. Gorgeous, but it's small. These are my issues with Harley Davidson, is that they don't make anything that suits what I need. It's that simple. And I've talked to many Harley guys, and they try to say, well, what if you get this and get that? I'm like, no. And I always bring up a point as to why it wouldn't work. I know any of those engines can be worked and put money into to have power, but that's a lot of money I gotta put just to get the power that I have already in this bike stock. And then I don't like the looks of the bigger bikes that I would have to do that to as much as this. You know, I'm not a fan of the big fairings in the front. I'm not a fan of that. This Boulevard has the power that I need. It's comfortable. I love the looks of it. It has a space for a passenger if I need it. And I got a stupid deal on it. I got a stupid deal on this brand new. And I know Harley Davidsons hold their value way more than these bikes. I'm not so concerned with that because I don't plan on selling this. And if I do, I'm okay with that because I'm going to have it for a while. But those are the reasons why I did not buy a Harley Davidson. It has nothing to do with me being a Suzuki fanboy, which I am not. It has nothing to do with me hating Harley. It was a purely simple numbers. Bullet point, what I needed in a motorcycle. Is that it? If this bike had a Harley Davidson label on it, and it was the same deal, I'll be riding a Harley right now. It's that simple. But it doesn't, so I don't. So that's my piece, y'all. It's raining. I gotta take this thing off my head so I don't get messed up. All right. Oh.